And we're live. How's everybody going? This is the one and only, the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders, and you are listening to Impact Showdown Radio on Blog Talk Radio and over at our sister website at InfinityOneProductions.com. You're listening to tonight's episode on August 2nd, 2012. We just saw Impact Wrestling go off the air. Little bit more questions surrounding the one and only, the Cowboy, James Storm. We'll definitely go more into details about that. Thank you all for checking out tonight's episode. We got the chat room that's uploaded right now. Feel free to jump on in there and interact with other TNA Wrestling fans as we cover tonight's episode and get you caught up on the latest in TNA Wrestling news. You know, you can also hit us up on Twitter. We're on there at Infinity1Prod. And we're up on Facebook at Infinity One Productions. So look us up on those two when you get a free moment. We'll be opening up the wrestling fan line in the later part of the show, so keep listening for your chance to call in and share your questions, thoughts on tonight's show. Been off the air for about what, folks? 48 hours? A lot of difference it makes. Tonight we're going to be covering the fallout of TNA Impact Wrestling, and while we're at it, we just want to take this time out to thank those of you for checking out all our shows of Impact Showdown Radio and the RCWR show for the month of July. As get this, you sat up and you made all our episodes be the most listened to and most downloaded. We saw our best month yet since we have been on the air. We've only been at it for just barely 6 months, and July saw our greatest month yet as the fan base, the support, it continues to grow, and we definitely want to just take this time out to thank all of you, the listeners. We appreciate the love. We appreciate the support. Definitely continue to go out there when you get that moment and spread the good word about our show. Let your friends and family know what it is that you're checking out and get them in on the show as well. So, again, mad shout-out to those of you for checking out our shows, whether you check it out live or you check it out on the downloads, iTunes, Zune Marketplaces, YouTube, Stitcher. Mad shout-out to all of you. Now, as a way of saying thank you to all of you, we are going to be doing more Saturday editions of the RCWR show. That's right, we're going to be doing more weekend editions. Now, we did a little bit of an experiment last Saturday, and it went very well that we decided we're definitely going to be doing more weekend specials. So this Saturday, you'll be able to catch a new weekend edition of the RCWR show. And for those of you that might be wondering, that's actually different than what you hear on the RCWR show and Impact Showdown, as we're going to take a unique approach with it in the sense that we're going to be focusing on key points that were not covered on those shows, and we're going to go outside of wrestling and get you all caught up on the very latest in entertainment, music news, so much more. It's going to be a very good mix, so be sure to check it out. One of the show highlights that we're going to have for this Saturday is WWF wrestling legend Kamala, who has recently made headlines for bashing a wrestling promotion for not receiving his check promptly. That's right. You definitely want to tune in for that. We'll also take an in-depth look at what's been happening since CM Punk has been WWE champion. That's right. I'm going to dust off the old memory as I've been keeping track of what all's been happening with CM Punk defending his WWE title. I have a little diary, believe it or not, of every single time he puts that title up for grabs. We're going to evaluate how he's been doing so far in a in-depth look, and if this latest run that he has right now, if it could possibly end on a good note, or will CM Punk possibly Have to Leave Raw. You definitely want to check that out this Saturday afternoon. It's going to be coming on at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. So make sure that you check that out. It's going to be really cool. And, hey, we're also going to be bringing back regularly, only on our weekend edition, Hidden Gems. Now, that's a really cool thing because basically I give out a DVD, a book pick, or a music pick that I think you should go check it out. Basically, I'll hook you up with a really honest, cool review, so you definitely want to check that out. And, hey, if you have an idea on something you would like for us to review that you think is a bit underrated that people should go check out, we want to hear from you. That's right, because get this, the RCWR show is now on Tout. That's right, we are now on Tout, and we definitely want to hear from you all. So those of you that have your smartphones, cell phones, you know how it is. Make that little video, send it to us, and we'll definitely make you be a part of the show that way. So let's go on ahead now and let's jump into TNA Impact Wrestling as, man, the show of tonight, the flow of it, it was pretty good. But there was one key point that just had me really going, my God, really, do we really have to keep enduring this torture? And the thing that just jumps out there, and I just thought I'd mention it first because I want to just get the bad stuff out the way and then just talk about what all happened, because overall it was a pretty solid show tonight. But I had a problem with a particular segment, and this segment involves the one, the only, come on, say it with me now, Claire Lynch. That's right, pat yourself on the back if you said it at the same time. Claire Lynch, people, this is probably some of the most poorest acting I have ever seen from an actor in all my years. A lot of people want to bash Dixie Carter for being a poor actress. She even makes Dixie Carter look better. I am just really tired of Claire Lynch. Something needs to happen to her. As one TNA fan pointed out, maybe there needs to be some type of a deal that occurs where maybe Gene Snitsky can pop up and he could do to Claire Lynch like what he did to Lita a couple of years back. For those of you that remember that angle, you know exactly what that had ended up becoming. I think that's a brilliant idea right there, but we would see a baby shower that is being thrown for Claire Lynch by Christopher Daniels and Kazarian. And these two guys, I've never heard of two guys throwing a female a baby shower. Now, feel me on this, folks, and I think every single guy out there, if you're a real guy and you got your girlfriend, you know, your old lady, you know how it is when the girl sits up and says, oh, so what are you doing, blah, 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 and you're like, I don't know, and you already got that alarm going off in your head, warning, 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 because you know she's asking you what you're going to be doing because she wants to sit up and she wants to go take you over to a girlfriend's house, and you're not really feeling that. So you're like, nothing, and your girl says to you, oh, well, so-and-so is going to be having a baby shower. We got to go over there, and you're trying to figure out a way you can get out of it, especially if other guys aren't going to be there, or other guys are going to be there, but they aren't going to be into the same type of stuff that you're into. So you're trying to figure out a way to maybe make an exit, maybe sit up and say, oh, hon, I love to, but I'm going to be stuck at work. Yeah, I'm going to be working overtime on a little project. Oh, sorry, but tell them I said hi, okay? We know that's a big crock of bull, but you see the point that I'm making. Most guys, when they hear baby showers, they aren't exactly jumping up and saying, oh, yes, that's exactly what we have to do. Let's throw a baby shower. And I was just a little bit perplexed when I saw Daniels and Kazarian in euphoria for giving Claire Lynch a baby shower. Now, how would Claire Lynch be rewarded tonight, folks? We would see Claire Lynch be rewarded with AJ Styles action figure, Kazarian Daniels action figure, posters from Daniels and Kazarian. But the beautiful thing of all, besides the tag team title replica belts that was given for the soon-to-be baby, it would be a toy baby doll that would get pulled out of the box and given to Claire Lynch that's dressed with a nice little cute AJ Styles hoodie. And we just see AJ Styles looking at it, and then all of a sudden, a WTF moment happens, folks, as we see her just break, I don't know, character, if that's what you want to call it, or just break away from what was happening in the ring. It kind of had like a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air moment. For those of you that remember Will Smith on that show, remember how Will used to be talking to Uncle Phil and them, and then at some point he would like break away from whatever was happening, and he would look dead at the camera to talk to us, the viewing audience. That's basically how it was with Claire Lynch, as he just looks right in the camera. And some of the most poorest acting to come from this actress, as she sat up and just basically said, "AJ, do the right thing! AJ, do the right thing! Get right there for the baby!" I'm like, my God, could you please shut the living hell up? It's some of the most crappiest acting yet. I guess maybe TNA is starting to realize this actress is bad, and maybe this is their way of confronting that, is by playing off of her. I don't know, but I just know a lot of people, and it couldn't be any more apparent than what the fans were chanting in the arena as they chanted, "You can't act." If that is not enough of a message to try to hurry up and end this, I don't know what is. Take her dumb-looking, stone-cold face looks, and I don't mean stone cold as the wrestler, just those weird looks that she be having. I mean, she looks like a silly Adam Sandler in drag. They just need to hurry up and get rid of her. I would have preferred to see Devon defend his television title. As I'm kicking back and I'm watching Impact Wrestling tonight, I'm taking note of everybody that is popping up. I mean, hell, we even had Eric Young and ODB show up in a backstage segment where basically they talked about Brooke Hogan putting the heat on them more because they haven't defended the knockout titles in 2 months. And to add to that, Brooke Hogan has a problem with EY being a male co-title holder of that Knockouts tag belt. And we see ODB and EY, they come up with this plan, or really it was more EY who came up with the idea of, well, if we just have our respective belts, you have yours, I have mine, and we're not together at the same time, there's no way we're going to get these titles taken away from us. There's no way we'll be put in matches. And we just see EY just haul ass. Now, that was only for like about maybe 2 minutes tops, but we even saw an appearance from the tag champions. I mean, we saw an appearance from everybody. We see an appearance from Devon, but he's not defending the title. And I got a little bone to pick with that, because this is supposed to be the television title that is supposed to be defended on a weekly basis, right? So why isn't this title being defended? It seems like it's been about 3 weeks now since this title has been defended on an episode of Impact Wrestling, and yet, get this, the less and less we see of Devon, he is slowly sitting up, and he is just moving up the ranks as far as how many days he has been the TNA television champion. Check this out, and you can't make this up. After this week is said and done, when we go into next Thursday's Impact Live, Devon will have surpassed Booker T's reign as the TNA Television Championship. That's right. I did some homework tonight. Check this out. We have as follows. At number 1, we have Eric Young, who had the television title, 2 reigns now, but his combined days that he was champion, he had it for 281 days. This would be followed up by AJ Styles, who despite had 2 reigns as the television champion, he had a total of 271 days. Rob Terry, his only 1 reign, lasted 167 days. This would be followed up by Booker T at number 4. So, when it's all said and done, next week, we'll see Devon move up to number 4, surpassing Booker T. And then the week after that, I believe, is when we will see Devon surpass Rob Terry and hold that number 3 spot. So for a guy that's not defending this title, it looks as if Devon is on a little bit of a history-making of his own at the rate that they have him popping up just here and there to defend a weekly title. Hopefully it comes off of his hands soon, because I want to see it be defended by somebody that actually wants to be there and defend it every single week. So really interesting right here, but in either case, we would still have a pretty solid episode of Impact Wrestling tonight. And one of the other things that had jumped out at me, and I had actually said it last week on Impact Showdown Radio, which was, man, it would have been nice to see the TNA Knockouts champion, Miss Tessmacher, be out during that last Knockouts match, because it just seemed weird to not have her make an appearance, right? Last week, you guys remember, she didn't pop up. Very weird, right? Well, this week, I guess I was heard, because we would see Miss Tessmacher for the second week in a row. She's not in action. She's finally joining Mike Tenay and Taz at the commentating booth, and she is watching our Fatal 4-Ways knockout match. And this was probably one of my favorite highlights of the night, as we would see Madison Rayne take on Tara, Mickie James. I am missing one other person. Tara, Mickie James, Madison Rayne. I cannot think. Gail Kim was the other one. Fatal 4-Way. Up for grabs is a number 1 contender spot to face the TNA Knockouts champion, Miss Tessmacher, at the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view in just 2 weeks. Well, in this match, we would find out a couple of things. Number 1, we would find out, despite the fact that Miss Tessmacher has come a long way in the ring, and she gets prettier and prettier by the week, by the month, she can't really talk worth a damn. And as one of our followers pointed out, Anita Y on Twitter, she would tell us that she does not want to see Tessmacher as champion anymore. When we asked her why is that, she said the following: because she's not ready yet, and there are other knockouts who get the crowd going. I just don't see anything special with her. And this is coming from a female, folks. This is coming from a female. So that has been the general conscience of a lot of female fans that have been paying attention to Miss Tessmacher. And as I was kicking back and I'm watching tonight's Impact Wrestling and I'm hearing Miss Tessmacher's commentating, the only thing I could just keep saying to myself is, ugh. Oh, man. All right, be quiet. I mean, it was just not energetic. It really didn't seem like she was really into the match. When something major happened where there was a high spot, she's just like, oh, wow, did you see that? And that was pretty much the whole level. Every time she was out there, it was just really dragging. I agree. I definitely think she's not quite ready yet. It is really what Gail Kim has been saying for the past few weeks about Ms. Tessmacher. It's all about ass and not class. I mean, at least you can sit up and say, with all of those 4 women that we saw in that ring tonight, all of them know how to get the crowd working. All of them know how to talk on the mic. All of them damn sure know how to wrestle. Even though we have not seen any of them hardly be utilized to what they used to be able to do months back. You know, they might not be utilized the same way. They still know how to bring it. One other interesting note that I thought was a little bit, the continued absences of Sarita and Rosita, who definitely they knew how to bring on a pretty good match when they were there. It just seems like we haven't seen them for what, folks? Seems like we haven't seen Sarita and Rosita at least. God, it feels like it's almost been 3 months now. I really hope I'm wrong, but that's exactly how it feels. But in either case, you know, we still had a pretty fun, exciting knockouts fatal 4-way as we would see Madison Rayne pick up the victory in a very controversial pin. That's right. Now, it was literally almost identical to what happened the last time we saw Madison in the ring. We see Tara, she grabs onto Madison Rayne, and she does this weird backflip type of pin, and we see clearly that Tara's shoulders are not on the mat, and she is pinning Madison. Well, 1, 2, 3, the next thing we know, we see Earl Hebner raise Tara's hand in victory. So once again, it looks like we have Madison who continues to work whatever magic she has been working on Earl Hebner. She has that man whooped. I mean, meow, whooped, because we would see Earl in a backstage segment just a little bit prior to her match as he is showering her with gifts and chocolates. Earl, man, she got you whipped, man. That's all I can really say about that. Of course, folks, the main theme that kept popping up tonight was James Storm. James Storm was in question. We've seen what has happened with those damn aces and eights every single time they have been popping up within recent weeks as Robert Roode, and Robert Roode might be on to something here, as he feels that James Storm is the one behind the aces and eights, and you just take the amount of evidence that could support Roode's claim as 1 week we see aces and eights, they're beating up Hulk Hogan, they're beating up Sting, they beat up Kurt Angle, who was supposed to have a match with James Storm in a Bound for Glory series. Doesn't happen. But James Storm, he doesn't get attacked. We see the TNA Gut Check tryout contestant, Sam Shaw, he gets beat. We don't see James Storm get this beat down. Then we go to what happened last week, and we saw all the people that had suffered at the hands of those damn aces and eights. But once again, James Storm would elude the attack, especially towards the end of last week's Impact Wrestling, where we would see James Storm run down to the arena and come to the aid of his comrades. As aces and eights, they haul ass, literally. They don't want nothing to do with him. And so the main question comes into mind, just what exactly, if anything, is James Storm's possible connection to the aces and eights? Well, we would see Sting call out James Storm, and he would show all of those video footages of aces and eights, as I just mentioned. James Storm, he basically continues to deny that he had anything to do with the aces and eights. He's not affiliated with them in any type of way. he would also say to Sting, you and me, we've known each other for many years. We fought over the years. You know, I'm just not that type of man. It's not in me to do that. At the end of the day, I need to be able to go home and hold my head up high. It's just not me. I was attacked from behind 9 months ago by one Kurt Angle. I didn't do anything shady. I took that beating. I came back. I asked for more, and I beat Kurt Angle not once, not twice, but 3 out of 4 times, one of those times to become the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Well, this would prompt the Olympic gold medalist to come out and say to James Storm, hey, couldn't help but hear name being mentioned. And he would also back up what Sting is saying, how the amount of evidence doesn't quite look good in Storm's favor, but would say let aces and eights try to pop up tonight during his match with James Storm, as their Bound for Glory series match is back on now, as it's going to be our main event tonight. As Kurt Angle promises, he's going to beat every single one of them. Sting would add to that, saying, yes, that sounds like it would be a great party. I'm going to be there as well. And that was pretty much the theme the whole night, as soon we would hear Robert Roode would participate in watching this match. We would hear Bully Ray chime in, as he's definitely going to be at ringside watching this match. Austin Aries is going to be at ringside watching this match. So we have everybody that is going to be watching James Storm take on Kurt Angle, hoping, praying that the aces and eights will pop up so that maybe this time it could actually be a fair fight. More on that in just a little bit, folks. Of course, one of the other highlights that we had saw for tonight was one other Bound for Glory series match where we had saw Bully Ray take on Robbie E, and he made quick work of Robbie E to pick up 7 points. Bully Ray, he's really loving that Twitter right now, folks, and if you haven't hit Bully Ray up on Twitter, make sure you hit him up. He is on Real Bully 5150. Make sure you hit him up on there. This was the latest tweet that he sent out. Riding my Twitter machine to the ring right now. Turn on Spike TV and watch me beat the crap out of that Jersey jerk-off. Hashtag Bully Nation. Well, this wasn't even a match, folks. This contest went in just about under 3 minutes, as Bully Ray made quick work of Robbie E, despite the fact that Big Robbie was there at ringside and did a little bit of jumping on Bully Ray right before the start of the bell. Of course, we also got to bring up a segment where Sting was talking to Brooke Hogan, who we haven't seen within recent weeks, ever since Hulk Hogan has suffered that beating at the hands of the Aces and Eights, and he would try to get an update from Brooke on how Hulk is doing, and Brooke Hogan really trying to do her best to sell the health status of the Hulkster, as she says that she's never seen him in the frail state that he's in right now, and that she never thought she'd see the day where she would have to take care of her father. As far as she's concerned, her dad has always been like Superman, and she's never seen him beaten so severely. And Sting, he knows exactly where Hogan's head has to be right now, as he's known the man for many years. He's faced him on several occasions. He knows that Hogan is going to be thinking about retribution. Well, we would see a unannounced, possibly a TNA official, come into their office and hand deliver a letter to Brooke Hogan. Now, it should just be noted that just a few minutes prior to that, Aces and Eights would go to their Twitter page and send out a tweet saying that their latest message has been delivered, hashtag Dead Man's Hand. What would be in that envelope, as Brooke would reveal it? it would be no other than the Aces and Eights calling card, which just set Sting off as Brooke Hogan, she quickly left the office, and that was pretty much the end of Brooke Hogan for the end of the night, as really Sting had her in the office trying to see if her head was really into the game, if she could really focus on business despite what was happening with her father. So very interesting development right here, folks, as the main theme that just kept popping up on a lot of fans' minds is, why are the Aces and Eights now gunning for Brooke Hogan? Could it possibly be the Aces and Eights have it in for the Hogans? And if so, who hates Hogan the most? Well, one name that keeps popping up, and it's been popping up ever since the Aces and Eights first surfaced, Jeff Jarrett. Could Jeff Jarrett possibly? There would be a lot to gain from that. Just think about it. If you have Brooke Hogan out of the picture, she doesn't like getting threatened by the Aces and Eights. She decides she can't do the work anymore. She backs on out. If Jeff Jarrett is behind it, what better way to have his wife, Karen Jarrett, get back her old job than to eliminate the competition? There's a lot to think about right there. And from there, folks, we definitely got to pick it up with Chavo Guerrero, as he had his in-ring debut, as he was tagged along with Hernandez, as Chavo Guerrero faced Kid Cash, who was with Gunner, as Gunner was at ringside. We'd see Chavo Guerrero pick up the victory right here. Looking very impressive. Just, you can't really, if you've been a Chavo Guerrero fan, you already know his match style. You know what he's capable of. Definitely did not disappoint. He hasn't missed a beat. It's not like Chavo Guerrero hasn't wrestled the entire time that we have not seen him on WWE programming. He's been doing a lot of work at indie circuits. He definitely, looks to be in great shape, great in-ring shape at that. Very pleased with what I saw of him in the ring tonight, taking on Kid Cash. Backstage segment we go now. Of course, we're picking up from that horrific, or just a little bit before that horrific segment with Claire Lynch, where cameras had caught up with TNA President Dixie Carter to get her reaction about AJ Styles, the Claire Lynch scandal. Dixie Carter, she basically would sit up and say, AJ Styles, he definitely needs to set the record straight about this and really try to get this all out there in the open. Of course, AJ Styles, he's nowhere to be found in the arena because he is down in Australia doing TNA promotional work. So hopefully we'll see him return next week to answer what all had happened between Daniels and Kazarian tonight. And in a very interesting development, we would see the return of one Joseph Park, who reveals to Sting that he has recently had his services acquired by several TNA wrestlers, and he tried to convince Sting into joining his firm. Sting would already say that he's pretty much set, he's good to go, and that he'll pass in the meantime. But he would also point out what had happened during the whole Black Hole Slam that he had did on Bully Ray the last time that the two of them had locked it up. Well, Joseph, he really wasn't sure exactly what Sting was talking about, as Sting kept saying, kayfabe, come on now. And that would conclude that. And, of course, let's talk about that main event match that we got coming up, as it's our Bound for Glory series where we see the Cowboy, James Storm, is taking on Kurt Angle, and we got some points up for grabs. It was another classic matchup. Very excited for this match. Not quite as good as when they had locked it up for the TNA Championship, but it was still nonetheless a damn good match. We would see James Storm pick up the win. I believe he got the assist from his last call. super kick as he was able to pick up 7 points with a pinfall victory, as all of those men that I had mentioned earlier, Sting, Austin Aries, Robert Roode, Bully Ray, all of them would be at ringside, and they were waiting. They were waiting for those damn aces and eights to show up, but they didn't show up, people. Really makes James Storm look bad, as we would see Kurt Angle, even though he suffered a defeat, he would raise James Storm's hand in victory. Well, we would see Robert Roode get a microphone and he would get in the face of James Storm, and he would basically claim that, hey, you see what I'm saying, people? You see, aces and eights, they aren't here, and we're all here. James Storm, you were really able to benefit from this win off of Kurt Angle. What, you didn't need aces and eights tonight? You were able to do this by yourself for once? And we would see all hell break out as James Storm, Robert Roode would have a go at it, as this would end our episode of Impact Wrestling. Next week, we got some really interesting developments that's going to be happening, as we got 3 Bound for Glory series matches that's going to be coming up, as the Pulp is going to be taking on Rob Van Dam, singles match. We're also going to be seeing AJ Styles take on Kurt Angle. And we're also going to see Bully Ray take on James Storm. That's right. All 3 of these matches are going to be singles matches where we have Bound for Glory series points up for grabs. And, folks, in case you might have missed it, can't stress it enough, make sure that in between commercial breaks for Impact Wrestling, you are watching the TNA Impact Wrestling Backstage Pass, where in between commercials, the action never stops. Now, the audio quality this week was very poor. You really couldn't make out a lot of the things that was being said. I know one of the takeaways that I thought was a pretty cool highlight was seeing Devon backstage with Jeremy Borash singing Prince's When Doves Cry. And, man, I'm listening to them sing this song, and I'm just saying to myself, they are really butchering the hell out of this song. They just made it sound so bad. I had to rectify what they did, and I had to just put in the Purple Rain album while I'm watching Impact Wrestling tonight, just to eliminate their bad rendition of it. Very horrific. We would also see Bully Ray pop up, and the audio was just really, really bad. I really wish I could give you guys a little bit more on what all had happened with the Backstage Pass. I know we saw Bully Ray. He did a little interview with Jeremy Borash. We saw Zema Ion. He did an interview. He basically had talked about his loss to Bully Ray. We saw SoCal Val. She gave shout-outs to people that were in the TNA Impact chat room over on their website. And, that was pretty much it. Unfortunately, the audio was just really, really bad. Really wish that we're able to report more to you on what all had happened. Now, on another interesting note, we would hear what all is going to be taking place at Bound for Glory, as apparently TNA President Dixie Carter have revealed what matches are going to be taking place at the pay-per-view. Now, check this out, folks, because this is really going to be good right here. We are going to see 20 points up for grabs at the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view, as we're going to see AJ Styles take on Kurt Angle, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe. That's right. It's going to be a fatal four-way ladder match at Hardcore Justice as the Bound for Glory series makes its way through the pay-per-view there. It is going to be 20 points up for grabs. And in another match, we are going to see Mr. Anderson take on RVD, take on the Pope, take on Magnus. That's right, fatal four-way, falls count anywhere match, people. 20 points up for grabs. Also at the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view, we're going to see Matt Hardy take on the Cowboy, James Storm, take on Bully Ray, take on Robbie E. That's right. It's going to be another fatal four-way match, as we're going to see them participate in a tables match where 20 points are going to be up for grabs. It's already shaping up to be a fantastic Hardcore Justice pay-per-view that's going to be coming our way next Sunday. So definitely going to be looking forward to that and hearing the rest of the matches that are going to be coming up. Of course, next week we will definitely be doing another weekend installment of our Call That Match special. You'll be able to hear that next weekend to get yourself ready for the TNA Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. Let's get you guys caught up with the very latest Bound for Glory leaderboard stats. Now, keep in mind what all had happened with tonight with Bully Ray picking up his win and James Storm picking up a win, both of them picking it up via pinfall. Here is your updated leaderboard stats, people. We have James Storm taking the lead now from Samoa Joe, as James Storm stands on top of everybody with 52 points. We see Samoa Joe at 47 points. At number 3, we have Kurt Angle at 41 points. That will be followed up by Mr. Anderson at 40 points, followed by Jeff Hardy at 28 points, Rob Van Dam at 28 points, Christopher Daniels at 26 points, Bully Ray at, let's not get to Bully Ray just yet, Magnus at 21 points, Bully Ray at, still not time for Bully Ray. I apologize, people. AJ Styles at 16 points. Now we slide in Bully Ray, who has 14 points, and the Pope D'Angelo De Niro at 7 points. Let's give that rundown to you guys one more time. James Storm, 52 points. Samoa Joe, 47 points. Kurt Angle, 41 points. Mr. Anderson, 40 points. Jeff Hardy, 28 points. Rob Van Dam, 28 points. Christopher Daniels, 26 points. Magnus, 21 points. AJ Styles, 16 points. Bully Ray, 14 points. The Pope, D'Angelo De Niro, 7 points. Those are your updated Bound for Glory leaderboard stats. Oh, we forgot about poor little old Robbie E. Well, he's really irrelevant right now, but let's throw him in there too. He has 5 measly points. So there you have it right there, folks. All right, this is what we're going to do right now. We're going to go on ahead and we're going to take a brief commercial break. Then when we come right back, we're going to go into just a little bit of TNA Wrestling headlines. It's been a little bit of a slow week, but we'll definitely get you caught up. I'll share with you what all has transpired with TNA Impact Wrestling's TV ratings for the month of July, and maybe give a little insight into what we can take away going into this month. And we'll get you caught up on a little bit more TNA Wrestling news. So we'll take a little commercial break, and then when we come right back, we'll jump right into it. Of course, we'll open up the phone lines as well. So, and according to ALNM, thank you, meant Jeff Hardy there, sir. Let's see what he's talking about here. Jeff Hardy, I did not pull a Mike Adamle as far as I know. Last I checked, I do believe I said Jeff Hardy. I would hope I did not say Matt Hardy. We'll definitely have to, as long as I said Hardy and not Harvey, and not sitting up and saying Jamaican me crazy, I think I'm still good in my book. So, and ALNM, we do pay attention to Twitter, but, we got a chat room as well. Feel free to pop up in there as well. All right, we're going to take a brief commercial break, and then when we come right back, we're going to jump right into some TNA Wrestling-related news. So hang tight, people. We're just going to take a pause for about 3 minutes. You're listening to Impact Showdown Radio on August 2nd, 2012, quarter to 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern. We'll be coming right back, folks. Hang tight.
Tired of those wrestling websites that give you redirects, spyware, weird pop-ups? How about those misleading headlines? Instead of hitting the keyboard in frustration, why not visit InfinityOneProductions.com? Infinity One is the source for wrestling-related news and so much more without all the hassle. Visit InfinityOneProductions.com. Your keyboard will thank you.
Hey guys, Lee Sanders here with the RCWR Show, and I'd like to take this time out to tell you about one or two quick apps that I think you should check out when you get a free moment. First app I'd like to recommend to you is the app from Stitcher. Now, Stitcher allows you to be able to play all our episodes of the RCWR Show and Impact Showdown on your portable devices, such as an Android phone, Kindle Fire, iPad, you name it, it'll be able to play it. So definitely highly recommend that you check that out. It's available for free in the App Store. Stitcher, new and smart way to play radio. Also, another cool app that I'd like to recommend to you all is a new app that came out not too long ago from Apple. That's right, Apple has recently come out with a free podcast app. Now, this app is really cool, folks, because after we are done doing our shows, all you have to do is just subscribe to our episodes. And you can do this by downloading this new free podcast app. All you have to do, visit the App Store on your iPhone or iPad and just search podcast. Once the app is downloaded, you can then type in the name of our shows, the RCWR Show and Impact Showdown, and you'll be able to subscribe. It's that easy. So you have two cool free apps that you can check out and take all our episodes with you on the go. So get to it already.
We're back. You're listening to Impact Showdown Radio on Blog Talk Radio right now. I'm, of course, as always, the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. Thank you all for checking out tonight's episode live on Blog Talk Radio and over at our sister website at InfinityOneProductions.com. I stand corrected, people. I humbly apologize. Apparently, I did say Matt Hardy. So when you guys catch me slip, please let me know, and I will definitely give you a special shout-out on the air. So we definitely got to give a shout-out to our boy ALN who caught that. Thank you so much. Apparently I said Matt Hardy. I got my brothers mixed up there. As long as I didn't say Harvey, that's the important thing, because I really am not trying to pull a Mike Adamley here. You know how it is. Anything can happen when you're live on the radio. You know, one of the things that jumped out at me with tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling, and I'm not really sure if a lot of you all may feel the same way, if you share the same sentiments as I, but one of the main things that just spoke large volumes to me was that TNA Impact, not at any time during tonight's show did they acknowledge Velvet Sky, and I just thought that was a little bit tacky. I mean, she had a huge hand in the kickoff for the Knockouts division, and for them to not acknowledge it, I mean, to really capitalize on that buzz as it was revealed last week that she made her exit. You know, it's just really kind of mind-boggling, because I just would have expected for maybe them to take a few minutes and say, hey, you know, we definitely have heard from you all about the release of Velvet Sky. We really wish that things didn't end up the way that they did. Hopefully we can see her come back down the road. You know, we do miss her. We miss her already. She hasn't even been gone that long. Velvet, special shout out to you. Hey, special shout out to Angelina Love as well. Yeah, I just really kind of thought that would have been really classy had they done that. No reason to sit up and kind of pull a WWE. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I might be overreading that just a little bit, but I definitely kind of thought that maybe they should have said something. Or, hey, maybe they could have sat up and said, hey, Angelina Love, Velvet Sky fans, make sure you go check out TNA President Dixie Carter on Twitter, because she sent out a very nice tweet to those girls. Of course, they're no longer with us. Go check out TNA Dixie, check out her Twitter page, see what special message she had to say for those two girls. I just think it would have been kind of a classy move to do. And, of course, in case y'all haven't heard it, seems like what all has been transpiring within recent weeks is we have Bruce Pritchard, who's been put in charge of cutting that TNA budget, and he has been sitting up asking wrestlers to take a pay cut. And the way the negotiations seem to be going so far, it seems like a lot of wrestlers have just been rolling out. Not really sure how much they are being offered, but it's obviously not enough to make them feel compensated for their time and make sure that the roof over their head, utilities are being paid, as we just keep seeing wrestlers leave. Just seems like every month we have at least one wrestler that's always rolling out of the company. But I just thought I would mention that because I just thought it was kind of funny that there was no plug. It just seemed like never existed, and I just think that's pretty messed up right now, because Tess Mocker, she wouldn't be where she is right now. She daggone sure isn't a Knockouts original if it wasn't for women like Velvet Sky, Angelina Love, setting that pace, paving the way, if you will. So I just thought I'd mention that right there. Not really sure how you guys think about that, but that's where I stand on that. Programming note, make sure you catch a new RCWR show, weekend edition, coming up this Saturday, 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. As I mentioned at the top of the hour, I'll be going more in depth about WWE Champion CM Punk's current run, as we'll take a look at his title defenses since being champion and offer an in-depth look on what may need to happen if his current run doesn't pan out for the remainder of this year. And hey, did you guys know that we have a YouTube channel? If not, well, if you don't know, now you know, because you should do yourself a favor and look us up on there when you get a chance. Just type in the RCWR show. Only on there will you find original content like my new web series, Unchained. Unchained gives me the opportunity to not feel so restricted on the radio shows as I go outside of wrestling talk to cover things that's happening locally, not just in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, but also across the U.S. that has people talking. And coming up, we have a very special Unchained episode where I talk about what's happening with this whole Chick-fil-A scandal. As head honcho of Chick-fil-A, they had let their voice be heard on same-sex marriage, and it has just created a massive firestorm. A lot of people have been boycotting Chick-fil-A. We recently saw D.C. Mayor Vincent Gray sit up and say that Chick-fil-A is not even going to be welcomed in the district. They aren't even in the district, but they have no intentions of being in the district. But we saw the Mayor Gray sit up and say he doesn't want anything to do with Chick-fil-A. I'm going to sit up and I'm going to offer you my take on all this buzz that's going on, as we have a lot of people sitting up saying, man, forget Chick-fil-A, Burger King rules. So you definitely want to check that out. It's going to be a pretty cool piece right there. Let's get you guys caught up on what has been going on with TNA's ratings for the month of July now, as we take a special look here. I think you guys will like this. I think that this is pretty cool. You guys are going to like this. Pull up a chair and get ready for this. So, as you all know, the month of July, it really wasn't kind to TNA Wrestling, as we had the DirecTV Viacom dispute, and TNA was hurting. They just came fresh off of their, the Destination X pay-per-view, where we saw Austin Aries get crowned the new TNA champion, and it was just really a bad month. We saw Spike TV cancel Impact Wrestling's new show, Impact Rewind, after only one episode, after 1 week, as it met poor ratings. I believe it clocked in at 0.2. So this is your recap for how TNA Wrestling did for the month of July. Here's the ratings breakdown, folks. July 5th, 2012, we saw them have a 1.00 cable rating with 1.485 million viewing audience. Now, this is post-Destination X, right when the DirecTV Viacom dispute kicks off. July 12th, we saw a 0.85 rating with 1.108 million viewing audience. Now, this was the episode where the Aces and Eights attacked Sting and Hulk Hogan, and this was pretty much their continuation of the DirecTV Viacom disputes. July 19th, 2012, we saw Impact pull in a 0.91 cable rating with 1.316 million viewing audience. This was the return of the Open Fight Night edition. Remember, we saw Aces and Eights. They beat the crap out of TNA Gut Check contestant Sam Shaw. July 26, 2012. This was their best rating yet, folks, as they pulled in a 1.09 cable rating with 1.578 million viewing audience. This was post DirecTV Viacom, as they had reached a new deal. So as you can see from this little trend here, it appears as if Impact Wrestling is going back on the rise. It's amazing when you think about it, how many people actually gave a damn about Impact Wrestling, as now we see the ratings are starting to kind of climb back up there. So very curious to see how the ratings do for this episode. Hopefully we can have that before this weekend is out. If so, we'll definitely make the information be available on our website, because we know that we had a lot of people for, a 2-week period there where they didn't have Spike TV as well as several other channels, so they weren't really sure what was probably going on. Some of them probably read results. Some may have gone out of their way to try to see if they could find the episodes on YouTube. So very curious to see now that the DirecTV Viacom is in the past. Very curious to see if they can keep this trend going, as if they could continue to put in these type of numbers, rest assured it would be a no-brainer that Impact Wrestling would be able to keep its live spot in the current time format. Let's switch gears now and let's get you guys caught up on new TNA Wrestling sensation, Kenny King, who revealed in a very candid interview on a wrestling radio show about his problems with Ring of Honor. That's right. Now, he would bring up his Ring of Honor contract, and this is what he had to say, and these are direct quotes from him. The bottom line is this: it took them a very, very long time, last minute, 11th hour, for them to even begin talking to me about my new contract. Those people knew how little time from the time that they knew it actually started talking to me to the time when my contract expired, that it would be a joke. So in that period of time, they asked me what I wanted to do, and I said, listen, I feel like I have some other opportunities, other options that I'd like to see what's up with. Not saying that I want to go anywhere, but I feel like I've earned the right to at least explore any other options I have out there. So that was agreed upon, and they said, how about we offer you a 60-day clause? Not sure what it's called, and it was basically a contract extension that gave the option, which was called the free agent option, where I could negotiate or talk to anyone from WWE or TNA, and basically if after 60 days nothing happened, then if I wanted to re-sign with Ring of Honor, then I could or would. Everything was wide open. So Kenny King setting the record straight about what all had went down with that Ring of Honor contract and him being released by them as they felt like he did a breach of contract via verbal agreement. Just goes to show you nowadays it really pays to sit up and make sure that you have it in black and white, you have it in writing, because anything can happen. Somebody could just get a case of amnesia just for the hell of it and makes things real difficult for you. So very candid interview right there. It was a great listen, too. I had actually liked hearing that piece. We also got some news for you guys with regards to Dakota Darso, as Eric Bischoff is going out of his way to sign the former WWE wrestler to a contract with TNA. That's right. This is, keep this in mind, folks, Dakota Darso, he was a former WWE developmental talent. So Eric Bischoff, he's got his eyes set. Let's see if he can make something happen right here. Now, of course, we got to talk about our good boy, Joey Ryan. It looks as if he's possibly done a series finale to Joey Ryan with a camera YouTube account series, as his latest YouTube video that he put out there, he pretty much sat up and talked about how he took the fight to TNA basically, and how he sucker punched Al Snow, and that the 87% they've spoken, and it was a really great little video piece. It's looking more and more likely that a match with Al Snow and Joey Ryan is going to take place. Funny how the weeks turn out here, folks, as originally it looked as if it was going to be Taz taking on Joey Ryan. I mean, how cool would have that been, folks, to see the return of Taz get back in the ring? But Taz is hell-bent. He is like a bat out of hell. He refuses to get in the ring because of the neck problems that he had got over the years of when he was wrestling. He just doesn't want to have anything to do with it. You know, I can respect Taz, but at the same time, if we got Stone Cold Steve Austin, who had took an ugly-ass pile driver from the late Owen Hart, and he was able to continue wrestling, and his neck was just literally hanging by a thread until he had that surgery, and, you know, he's talking about he could probably do maybe 1 or 3 more matches. You know, I don't really know the extent of Taz. I don't know. Maybe it's completely different from what's going on with Taz, but, man, it seems like Taz hasn't wrestled in how many years, folks? Over 10, it feels like. And, you know, it would have been a good time to get some surgery in between all of that. And, you know, I don't like saying anything bad about Taz. I think Taz is one of the best ECW originals, but it doesn't quite help that he's packing all that weight, you know, now that he's starting to get up there in age. If he would shed some of that off and maybe look into that DDP yoga, you know, maybe he might have it in him to do maybe 1 or 2 more matches. I know personally, when I was watching this develop between Joey Ryan and Taz, I was almost under the impression that we were going to see Taz get back in the ring there. It's funny how things play out. I'm not really sure if Al Snow will be able to deliver just the same, but we'll see what happens, as it's definitely starting to look like these two will be colliding at the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. So we'll definitely keep you guys posted on that and see how that's going to pan out in the end there. But that's pretty much going to do it for right now. Let's go on ahead and let's open up our wrestling fan line and get you all's reactions here. Let's go ahead and when you come on the air, folks, just let me know your first name. Don't put your business out there. We don't need to know your last name and where you live. We don't need all that. Just come on. Let us know your first name, where you're calling from. Let's open it up right now. We got a caller from the 276 area code. My friend, you're live on the air.
Hey, how's it going? This is Alan.
Hey, pretty good, bro.
Hey, man. I just wanted to talk about Joey Ryan. I'm a big fan of the guy, man. And I think, I think maybe this has been a work the entire time. I thought that way at first, but it's been going on for so long now that I think maybe it wasn't. He has gathered so much support that TNA has realized that, hey, we need to do something with this guy. At least I hope so, because since then, I never heard of the guy too much, that much before he was on Impact Wrestling. But since then, I've spent a lot of time looking at a lot of his matches. He recently won a title in a promotion. I forget the
Empire Wrestling.
Yeah, Empire. That's what it was. Yeah, it skips my mind right now. And I was watching some of his older matches. The guy can go. I mean, he's not a big guy or anything, but he has such great charisma. I mean, I follow him on Twitter. He's always entertaining. And one big thing about him that I think that would really, really benefit Impact and just the wrestling business, on TV in general, he has a ready-made character, and there's just not enough characters nowadays in wrestling. There's just regular guys. Obviously they have differences and stuff like that, but he has just such a depending on what your thoughts are, or he's either somebody that you're automatically going to relate to and like, or he's somebody that you're automatically just going to hate. And his match, man, when he had against Austin Aries, was a good match. I mean, Aries is a great competitor, and he can just about make anybody look good. But Joey Ryan did a great job. He was holding his own. I'm appalled. I was astounded why TNA didn't sign him to the gut check. The only thing I could guess is that they didn't want everyone who signs up for it to automatically get a contract. I'm curious to see how the whole thing versus Al Snow pans out. He's only recently started the whole Twitter thing against Al. Before it was all against Taz, but I think that he tried to work that, and it's obviously not going to happen. I agree with you. Taz, he can't perform. I think it's more or less not necessarily the neck. I think it's really the weight issue, like you said. He just can't go.
Yeah, or it could be a combination of both. I mean,
right,
again, and we don't want to speculate, folks, because his neck injury might be more serious than Stone Cold's. We don't know, but like I say, it doesn't help having that weight, and then, if he could, hook up with DDP. I mean, look at Jericho. Chris Jericho, he said numerous times that he was actually contemplating retirement because his back was pretty screwed up. He did DDP yoga, and he feels like he can go for another 5 years. So, yeah, it really doesn't help Taz, with all that weight that he's got right now.
Oh, yeah, I think, and there's a lot of wrestlers who are picking up that DDP yoga. And so many guys, a lot of indie guys, a lot of the older wrestling legends, they have an indie league not too far away from me here. And there's an older guy, I'm sure you know the name, George South. Yeah. I was talking to him about it one time. He said he's been getting into it. And, man, that guy's older than my grandpa. And he's still doing it, man. So it's possible. But George South's in good shape.
Yeah.
So, I think that probably could help Taz, but I think it's, like you said, it's probably a combination of the neck problems that lingers and the fact that he's just not in the shape that he was. But I'm with you. I would love to have seen if Taz was in a shape to perform versus Joey Ryan, I think could have been good. But Al Snow can go. He's a good wrestler. He's still in good shape, and I'm interested to see how it's going to pan out. I think it's definitely going to be something that's going to happen, in Impact, and at least I hope so. I'm looking forward to it because Joey Ryan, he entertains me immensely. Yeah, and in all his matches I've watched on YouTube, his a YouTube show, everything. Follow him on Twitter. So I'm holding out for him. I hope he does get his contract, get signed on, and get to see him on TV. I think it would be good for the business. I think it would be good for Impact.
And you know what? It's funny you mentioned that, and thank you so much for that call. We appreciate it. It's so funny you mentioned that. And since you're a Joey Ryan fan, and this is what I'm going to do for you, and for those of you other Joey Ryan fans, we actually had Joey Ryan on our show a couple of weeks ago. What I can do, because I don't really think it should be plugging him in the description. If you go check out our show archives, you can do it on Blog Talk Radio, or if you got a iPod, you can check it out in iTunes. It's in the Zune marketplaces. We did a really cool interview with him, and I've had the pleasure of having a number of guests come on to the show since we've been doing this. And out of all the guests, I had a blast interviewing Joey Ryan. And I asked him the tough question, and caller from the 269, we got you. Caller from the 276. Caller from the 973. I got both of you. Give me a second here. I asked him the tough questions. I said, if Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, TNA President Dixie Carter, if they were to give you a call right now after we get off the air and say, look, man, we definitely want you to sign a long-term contract. We want you in. You got to sign with us. I asked him, I said, what would you do, honestly? And Joey Ryan told me straight up. He said, well, I live in California. My friends, my family, my business, because, he also is the co-founder of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and he also wrestles for them as well. He told me, he said, I would have to be given a ton of money to be able to, relocate and all that. He basically said unless he got a deal similar to what the first TNA gut check winner, Alex Silva, I think is his name, unless he got a deal close to that or a lucrative deal, that would be the only way he'd be interested in being with TNA on a full-time basis, because he revealed one key thing that definitely told me that he was very serious about all this, which was, he's in his 30s. It's not like he's a younger man. He has to think about his future, his livelihood, and, he's really, he loves getting his name out there, and he's able to make quite good profits from all his merchandise as a result of the few times that he does pop up on Impact Wrestling and all that other good stuff. But, he told me straight up, he said the only way he would be able to go with them on a long-term basis, the money has to be really good. Now, who knows? Maybe TNA, they have signed him, but I just think that it's kind of interesting when you really, really think about it, how we don't see Joey Ryan on consecutive weeks in the Impact Arena. It seems like Joey Ryan pops up at least every 2 weeks. I think that kind of makes a little sense. That gives him enough time to do what he has to do at home, meet his other commitments that he has to do appearance-wise or in the ring, and that gives him enough time to hurry up, do his thing down in Orlando, Florida, then head on back home. It makes a little sense if you really think about it. Personally, I don't mind them continuing to do what they're doing right now. If they want to continue to utilize Joey Ryan the way that they're doing right now, I think that it's freaking brilliant. But hopefully they can get to that point where they are able to free up enough money and they're able to sign him to a more lucrative deal, just to touch up on what you said, because I definitely feel that he has the complete package. He is just ready to go. Let him have a run at it. I think him and Austin Aries, just the fact that, you said you've seen all their matches, so you know that Austin Aries and Joey Ryan, they've hooked up one other time. I definitely feel they could tear the freaking roof off that place. So let's see what happens in the weeks to come. let's go on ahead and let's take a caller from the 973 area code. My friend, you're live. You're on the air.
Yo, what's up? This is Don from New York City.
Hey, Don. How you doing?
Good. I'm new to your show. Where are you guys based out of? What state?
D.C., Maryland, Virginia area.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, you sound like a pretty knowledgeable wrestling fan. You've been following pro wrestling for a while?
Yeah.
Good deal. All right, good program. Couple things. First off, the TNA Knockouts Tag Team title belt, where tonight we got this video vignette, whatever you call that, where ODB is backstage saying, Brooke's been putting pressure on me because you're a man and this is a Knockouts Tag Team title. Okay. I forgot they even had the freaking belts. I understand Eric Young had to go for throat surgery, and that's probably the reason the whole thing was put on back. But I think that's a bad job by them, just completely burying it for 2.5 months. I honestly, I forgot it was even there. Did you even remember they still had a?
I kept forgetting. Yeah.
Because I've been pushing WWE for a long time. So you guys are missing the boat not having a women's tag team. But hell, we didn't even get one women's match on a 3-hour Raw, so we could see where their mindset is with women's wrestling in WWE. Apparently, it's not politically correct to have women wrestling. So I guess that's their take. But yeah, that 4-way knockouts was that was a fantastic match. I could deal without a little bit of awkward there with Brooke Tessmacher and whatever her name is, Brooke Adams on the mic, and how she would say something, and then the camera's shooting her in her face for 5 seconds of awkward silence. And it's just kind of weird. But let's see, a couple other notes on tonight's. Great opening match. I mean, that's a great way to start off your show. That was really solid, really got me involved right away. Let me ask you a question here as far as the Impact Zone goes. I was looking at their numbers here for recent house shows. They drew on 7/27 in Dayton, Ohio. They drew 850 people for a TNA house show. 7/28 in Washington, Pennsylvania, 700 people. 7/29 Akron, Ohio, 800 people. These are not huge house shows. Yeah. These are under 1,000. What wouldn't you like that Impact Zone crowd? Wouldn't you like to see them go up to like a New York or Chicago or L.A., a place where they can draw 1,000 rabid fans for each show? I mean, you watch ECW or you've seen videos of it. How that I thought that was seeing the crowd's reaction was part of the excitement for me on that. But what's your thoughts about Impact stepping their game up here? Or is it just this is what it is, what it is?
And that's a very good question. Thank you so much for that. Honestly, it boils down to money. I mean, there are so many things that I would like to see Impact Wrestling be able to do right now, and you would think that because of Dixie Carter's parents, Panda, Energy, you would think that having all that, Spike TV, they would just be sitting on a ton of money to be able to maybe go off and do bigger venues, things of that nature. Unfortunately, they'll have you believe that they're sitting on a lot of money, but if that was really the case, we wouldn't be seeing guys like Matt Morgan, Angelina Love, Velvet Sky, Ric Flair, Mick Foley, Tommy Dreamer, Don West. I mean, I could think of just a boatload of people, at least 20 people that have rolled out of the company, that they should have been able to keep. And money for them, it just seems like it's really tight right now. In these house shows that they're doing, I hear a little bit about the attendance figures, and I also hear a little bit about, how some of the house shows are good. And I know that a lot of fans, they appreciate it because it gives them a chance to really appreciate what they feel is real wrestling. They really get that interaction with the talent. I'm all for that, but, unfortunately, until TNA can get to that point where they can really be sitting on revenue to be able to do all of those things, I just don't see them. If you were to say to me, do I see them in maybe 3, 4, 5 years possibly doing some type of a house show event at Madison Square Garden, I would honestly tell you I just don't see it happening, not with the way TNA is right now. They have a long ways to go. Advertising, I mean, this is something that we had covered a a couple of weeks ago, some of the problems that they're having. But by the time they do finally get to where they need to be, guess what? Companies like the WWE, they are already going to be on that next big thing. You know, now I'm sitting up and saying to myself, when is TNA going to make it be their business to try to take advantage of tout as a way to really get their voice out there and possibly pick up more fans? We've seen WWE do this thing with tout now. Co-producer Tammy, how many weeks now? They've done this whole tout thing for about almost 3 weeks now, and we've seen Impact Wrestling. They've yet to capitalize on at least almost 3 to 4, and TNA Impact has yet to capitalize on that. Meantime, you got other wrestling radio shows. Our wrestling radio show, practically everybody and their mama has jumped on tout because they realize, oh, this is a real hot thing, especially since you can still purchase stock from them. Okay? Stocks are still kind of cheap right now. So shout out to those of you that are paying attention to the stock. If you can still capitalize on it, you got a little money, feel free to invest it in that. But, you know, they're a little bit behind right now. So, hopefully that answers your question. And glad, you appreciate the show. Yeah, I've been a fan of wrestling since the 1980s. I've actually used to do a little bit of booking for a Ma and Pa wrestling promotion, and I actually have been a writer for the past 20-plus some odd years. I've written graphic novels. I've written comic books, a lot of underground stuff. So, for me it was a no-brainer to sit up and do a wrestling radio show, and we've been at it now for about 6 months. Fan support continues to grow, and we definitely appreciate all our loyal listeners, and we're really glad that you like the show, and definitely keep checking us out. We love hearing from first-time callers. If you guys still want to get in your thoughts on tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling, feel free to chime on in. Telephone number 646-478-3525. Again, that's 646-478-3525. And one other note, special shout-out to our New York fans, because you know what? We don't actually give our New York fans a lot of love. We actually have a lot of listeners from the New York area. New York, that's one of the big three. They know their wrestling. So if you can't make it there, you really ain't going to be able to make it anywhere. I think the big three is New York, Chicago, Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken. Those are the main three stomping grounds right there. Let's go on ahead now, and let's go to our good friend Dave from the 269 area code. Dave, you're live on the air, my friend.
Hey, I just wanted to comment on the last caller, what you said about TNA taking it on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I say no, because I hated watching 2 weeks of the same house show, the same people. You know what I mean? Like when they went to North Carolina or whatever, we had to sit there and watch the same show, basically the same show for 2 weeks. I love Impact Live. I just hope they keep it live. I mean, that's what I'm fine with. If they shoot with those crappy fans, then fine, I'll deal with it. But I think it's been a good show tonight. I mean, Brooke's commentary, I mean, oh my God, all she did is make moans and groans. I was like, what am I watching, a tennis match? I mean, I thought it was a tennis match for a minute. She's like, ooh, I was like, what the? I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. I thought maybe I was being a little too critical, but then to hear a female fan say Brooke needs to, Tessmarker, whatever you want to call her, Brooke Adams, she needs to lose that belt because she's just not really selling. I'm like, wow. And like, even the girls are kind of getting on her. Damn.
I can agree with that, but in a way I can't either, because, okay, they're trying to give her a run. They put her with Kill Kim for 2 months, a couple months, and then now they're going to put her with another good knockout, which is Madison Rayne. So they're trying to help her with these knockouts they're putting her with. Madison Rayne, I mean, she's a really good talker and everything else, and she's a good wrestler, too. And her wrestling is good, but her talking is just, you don't want to hear her talk. Just stand there or something.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm glad about TNA's ratings. I mean, up 2/10, they said, or what I believe it was.
Yeah.
I mean, And like you said, we talked about this before, their advertising, I mean, really need to do something with that.
Yeah.
Because Raw 1000, there was even a plug for it in TV Guide. I mean, you open up TV Guide, oh, there's Raw 1000 right there.
Yep. Yep. So true.
I mean,
collector's item, too.
Yeah.
Make a killing on that.
I mean, I wish they would do something more. I understand they got budget cuts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to fire all these people. They need to ask the real people to take the pay cuts, not the guys who are wrestling every week, the guys who wrestle maybe once a year. I mean, you got like Sting and Eric Bischoff and Hogan. These guys should either be out of the company or taking pay cuts.
Take the pay cuts, invest it into better advertising, a better social media campaign. You know, it wouldn't hurt.
The worst pickup of all was Brooke Hogan. What was the point of that? I'm not trying to talk about her take a personal shot at her, but maybe I am. Because why does she belong in TNA? What point is it to even have her there? And she's not that great of an actress either.
Honestly, Dave, and thank you for that call. Honestly, it's because of who's there, Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff. That's the main reason. We're down to our last 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Real quickly, for those of you, if we happen to go off the air, the conversation is going to continue. We'll just be going into overtime. You might not be able to hear us live on the air, but the conversation is going to continue. Just wait until the 45-minute mark. It's 11:27 right now. Just wait until the 45-minute mark, and the episode should be available for download on all portable devices, and we'll definitely go on ahead and make it be available for you all. So I'm just letting you guys know that right now in case we happen to go off the air. Don't freak out. The conversation is still continuing, and I want it to continue. I don't want it to abruptly end because I see we got a caller from the 510 area code, and I definitely, that's our good boy there. We definitely want to hear his thoughts on tonight's episode. Go ahead, my friend.
Well, oh my goodness. I mean, it's just good. I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm actually watching it right now. And TNA, because it start over here in the Bay Area, it starts at 8. So, the show has turned out really great. I've been really paying attention to TNA, but I like it. There's really nothing. When I said about CM Punk, you said you're gonna have a Saturday show, and what time are you gonna start? I was just kind of curious.
Okay.
I can't believe that.
And thank you for that call. We appreciate it as always. That's the RCWR Show Weekend Edition, and we're going to be doing another one of those at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, so definitely check that out. I think we had another fucking fantastic, great show, right? I think so, guys. Let's pat ourselves on the back here. We did pretty good. You, the listeners, pat yourself on the back. Y'all did pretty good tonight. That's going to do it. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get on up off of here. I hope y'all have a fantastic weekend. We will see you this Saturday for the RCWR Show Weekend Edition. Thanks to everybody in the chat room. Thanks to all you callers. Thanks to those of you that are going to be checking that on the downloads. Let's do this again this Saturday. Be safe. Until I hear from you guys. Be kind and be safe to one another. I'm out, folks. Take care.